Full disclosure here, I'm a Navy wife.
Yes,
Air Force.
and that's one of the questions I'm gonna ask you too. Is
Okay.
about what the difference you think of being
Okay.
Navy wife.
Great.
Okay.
You have to throw in some opportunity for me to talk about this horrible PCS I just went through.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Sorry about that.
Okay. You ready?
3, 2. Hey, they didn't think I would do it, but I did it. Really having it, really winning. Was times that I thought I'd forever be sinning and spending whatever to stand on the business. But God bless the game, did it all but a sinning. All the shots they let off, but they ain't hitting. All the shots we let off, they ain't mentioned was hitting. Go ask why he's fighting them limping. Never change, I'm the same as you send me. The only thing changes the paper my vid. Can't forget about the diamonds and chains on my pendant was starving, but now we eat steak for a living. If we ever fell out, you was fake or we can switch sides, don't be standing on. But yet I'm the biggest, ain't changing my click rep to 6 disrespect and get put in that dick.
I won't let 'em change me. I'll remain.
Hi everyone. Welcome to Chats with Chelsy, a part of the Basement Club podcast. I'm your host, Chelsy Taylor, and today we have a special guest, super wife, super mom, and seasoned military spouse, Anntoinette Frimprong. Thank you so much for being here today.
Of course, you're an amazing person, Chelsea. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, how are you doing today?
I'm cranky. And it's a mixture of everything, you know. Pregnancy, my husband's TAD, and like there's this weird thing that happens every time he goes TAD. The day it happens, I get some weird phone call, and it's like something that needs him in it, like a daddy type of thing. I'm like, oh my God, I have to face this alone. Couldn't you have called me the day before? Or you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that and
Now that you mention your husband, how did you guys meet?
LA. LA. He worked in LA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a Navy base?
No. Recruiting.
Okay.
So he got to get out of the office and get out and found himself in my web.
How long have you guys been together?
6 years.
6 years. Oh wow.
Yeah.
And you're from California, right?
I am.
So how was it like growing up in California?
It was diverse, sunny, lots of options, always something happening, dramatic, eventful, and very family oriented. A lot of my family's there, have a lot of cousins. So it's something that really groomed me into my personality, and I didn't realize how detrimental that was until I started moving out of the country and to other states, and now it's kind of hard. Like today, I can't go to the beach. Today is a beach day.
Oh yes, it's definitely a beach day.
Yes.
It's so sunny outside, and I appreciate that.
Yes, but we can't go to the beach here. You have to make a reservation, like it's a 4-star restaurant.
Oh,
it's
no.
the beach that God made. I'm like so annoyed.
Well, we're gonna have to get you to the beach pretty soon,
Please
right?
do.
So you mentioned your family.
Yeah.
So how many siblings did you grow up with?
6 younger siblings.
Really?
But I've also lived with my grandmas a lot, and so I live with my cousins, and I have 5 of those on one side, and then 7 on the other. So it was always a lot of us, like at least 14 kids in the house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's hard transitioning out of that, even as an adult.
So with that also being said, since you come from a bigger family, so you have 4 kids now,
Yes.
and you're also pregnant with your 5th kid.
Yes.
So do you still want like a big size of a family like that you have?
I do.
6 younger siblings?
I do, but I can't do it on my own. What my kids need are cousins. They need their cousins, you know, to experience life with. And my God, I experienced so much with my cousins. You know?
It is hard being so far away.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all the way in Boston, and then there's all the way in California. So how is that like for you as a military spouse? How do you navigate that from day to day? And Joel being basically a super mom, because I feel like in my eyes that you are.
Thank you for saying that. It's very lonely. And on that subject matter, I like to say a lot of people don't appreciate military spouses, and even a lot of people in the military. And it's so completely arrogant when someone says, well, you know what you signed up for. I would like to see you put the boots on to stop the hoodies from coming up in here and chopping off our heads. You should say nothing but thank you. You know what I mean?
I do feel that.
Yeah.
Because it is challenging. I mean, I only have one, just PJ,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And knowing that we don't have any family nowhere near us, we definitely rely heavily on people around us.
Yeah, like you to me.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very appreciative to have you. Like you're just down just a little bit.
Yeah, but even then, you don't get that. I just came from a base where I don't know if we could cuss on this podcast. I'm just say there were a lot of a-holes, and I didn't have that there. And it really, but I did with the Japanese people. I made Japanese friends, but it's really hard. And my husband's fellow sailors are very supportive. I mean, a sailor watched my small 1.5-year-old daughter when I was getting surgery for my other baby. So I get a lot of support from active duty people, really pulling through for that.
That's amazing.
I mean, I grew up with an actual family, a big family. Like there's 30 of us in the same age range. So I never really faced isolation, and I didn't realize that until now. So it really sucks when you don't get that compassion from other people, and they say arrogant things like, you know what you signed up for. Again, are you stopping any invasions? Because other countries are being literally ripped apart, but not in America, and that's because of our service members. So, I haven't seen my mom in almost 6 years, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That has been a long time.
For me, because after working a 13-hour shift, I would drive an extra 3.5 hours to see my mom, because my mom had with me when she was very young. So we kind of grew up together, cognitively. And so it's a sacrifice I made because my children deserve their father. So even knowing that he's not always going to be home or he's barely home, they're still where they can reach their father in a sense, but it's coming at a high price. And on days like this, I feel it.
You had mentioned something before. So you were in Japan. Were you in Japan in 2020?
Yeah.
Okay. How was that during COVID?
It was horrible because of what we went through before COVID. Girl, that was horrible. So it was the first case was reported November 2019. The same month we gave birth to our daughter.
Oh no.
It was horrible. So we were supposed to leave March 2020. And then that's when the clock on the news started going with all the death tolls and the states and the globe started turning red. And I was like, babe, I don't think we're going anywhere. He's like, no, we are. He's so arrogant when it comes to the military. Like, no, they're going to come and get us. I'm like, babe, I don't think we are. I think we should stay in our apartment. We gave up our apartment. And our household goods were already in a shipping container to Asia. So we had absolutely nothing. Mind you, we're newlyweds around this time.
Yeah.
And there is nothing like a worldwide pandemic to push your buttons of patience.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. I definitely feel that.
I think that as military families, we're transients, which is just a nice way to say homeless. Because when those PCS orders are up and you have to move again, you're starting all over in a whole new world, So, we were in a Hyatt with other service members. You just see all these different khakis and NWs coming in and out because they offer a military discount, and we're it's a nice hotel, and they have kitchenettes. So basically, all different military branches are living in a Hyatt. It's costing so much money. Our detailer caught COVID, and he was in. It was just so bad. So 7 months later, we got our tickets. And mind you, the 7 months we had to buy a lot of stuff to coast through until we got our tickets. So then we ended up leaving that. Then we get to Asia. And after that trauma, with that happening at that time, I had no idea what I was leading. I was just really stressed out. Just had a baby. I'm postpartum.
Right.
And then there's this worldwide pandemic. I'm like, is this the rapture? And are we just gonna die? Let me just get it over with. This shit is stressful. That didn't happen. We didn't die, which was kind of sad because we just had to coast through it. Then we moved to Asia.
How was that going to Asia?
The Japanese people are a utopian society. And I've always had this high standard of what we should be as people. And I believe that the Japanese people are that. They don't have diversity. And me and you, we just are beautiful rainbows of God's green earth. You know what I mean? They're very similar there. That kind of had its toll on me because I'm from California.
Right.
So, and the food, and everyone's quiet, but the way they carry themselves, they're so kind and compassionate and on time and considerate. It was mentally healing, but it also kind of prepared me to be a little bit more on edge when I came back to the States and I experienced not Americans, but East Coast Americans who are absolutely cold. And I'm like, damn, again? I feel like I'm still in 2019, November, like just like bam, 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 bam. I think that COVID really, at least for me, and I've seen it in society, it really did something to the psyche. It seems like it's just been a bunch of catastrophes since then.
You know, you bring up an excellent point. I was thinking about so how you're a Navy spouse and I'm an Air Force spouse. So how is it like how many times have you moved since 2020?
Oh, since 2020? Okay, so are we counting the pandemic?
Yeah, we can count the pandemic.
Okay, because if it wasn't for if it wasn't for my husband being in the military, we could have just rented a new house in California. But we couldn't do that because, and they did, they called us at like 10 o'clock at night saying your tickets are for 8 in the morning. It was horrible.
Oh no.
It was horrible. Yeah, so, you don't want to break the lease or anything. So,
right.
So with that restriction, we moved out of our house in San Pedro in 2020. We stayed in like a variety of Marriotts and Hyatts around the country for 7 months. We moved in with my mom for about a month and a half, and then we moved to Japan. Then we moved back from Japan, and our orders said Rhode Island because Rhode Island is New England, but Boston is the headquarters, which really sucks.
Oh yeah.
So my husband was commuting from Rhode Island to Boston, which is horrible.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, it was really bad. And the housing in Rhode Island was so bad. My kids were always getting respiratory infections. I have receipts. I have ER visits. Always getting respiratory infections because of the mold in the houses. So I fought hard. I was like, there's an Air Force base. Babe, there's an Air Force base. And then what we gotta do? My husband had to agree to even more hours and remote work to get here and get a change of orders that are specific to Boston because we're only allowed to live by our duty station, except our housing sucked. So, but Air Force housing, as we know, is always very nice. Y'all don't know this, but it's very nice. So now we're here, thank God. My husband wants to move again in a year.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so that we can stop moving so much. We would like to start owning again. But my kids don't want to move. My daughter, she doesn't want to move. So I don't want to move, but then I do want to move. Closer to my family, at least,
Yeah. Would you like to go back to California?
Absolutely not. I like California, but it is Sodom and Gomorrah. It's not the place for children, So we want to go down south, somewhere close to California to where I can drive.
Okay.
But absolutely not have my children in California.
Gotcha. So do you think there's a difference between, or do you see any differences between Navy and Air Force as you can see?
Absolutely.
What would be those differences for you?
So what I've seen, what I've witnessed, first off, a lot of the stuff that we've gone through in the Air Force, in the Navy, I don't think we would have went through if we were part of the Air Force. For example, the Air Force is really good at paperwork. When we left Japan, we had applied for the AMC flight so many times. They finally took forever to deny us and say it has to be filled out by the command. The command never did it. The command pushed back on us, and it's just like back and forth like children bickering. So we ended up not being able to bring our dog home, which was traumatic. She was a very expensive husky, and that was very bad for my children. But it was simple paperwork, and the Air Force would have done that. I know for a fact. And then just like our early return of dependence paperwork, that was messed up. And our housing, they lost our housing paperwork. So when we came back from Japan, they had said that we weren't eligible for housing until August, but we came in May with a early return of dependence. So that's legal. That's like, where's our house at? So we ended up staying in a hotel for a month, which was a lot of money. There's like so many, there's the paperwork in the Navy is bad.
Mhm.
People, they're, I don't know. And you see it in 2019, the ship burned down. The
Mhm.
Navy ship burned down. Someone what?
Oh no.
Left a light on or something? Like, you're retarded. Like, I got embarrassed. The whole world sees the ship burning down. Like, how did you, like, we're
Okay.
supposed to be like war fighters, and you're burning down a ship?
Yeah.
You didn't read the manual, and did it overheat? Like, I'm like, damn, that's embarrassing. I tried to go to Air Force, but
Oh,
they
you did?
girl, yeah.
No, tell me about that. Now I'm interested.
They hung up on me.
What? Hang up on
This snobby ass Air Force, yes, girl, like 3 times.
Oh no.
Very strict on their recruitment.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't. Oh, I did not know that.
The Air Force is extremely hard to get in.
Okay.
It is.
Okay. So, what was your thoughts? Because I have seen that in my experience. That we have military spouses, but then I guess they love the military so much that they become active duty themselves.
Yeah.
And they join. So, what would be? Would you still do that now?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And what would be some positives for you as a military spouse?
Oh God, everything. Community,
Mhm.
a sense of safety. I know one thing. If someone came up in here and messed with one of our kids, I swear every dependent in here will be kicking some ass in the street. And I
Oh.
really mean that.
Mhm.
We would be fighting. So there is that sense of community,
Mhm.
you know, and there's that sense of like, I don't know, pride,
Mhm.
you know, because you're not respected nor paid for what you do. And again, you know, I just look at like what happened in Israel on October 7th.
Mhm.
They were slow to respond.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
I think it would be harder to do something like that here because of our armed forces
Mhm.
and our gun laws.
Mhm.
You know, so and I think that that's all because of the people who choose to serve, and there's no way around that. No one else can say that they provide that safety
Mhm.
other than our servicemen and women. So my grandfather was in
Oh yeah.
Vietnam, Korea, and World War II. So I have a lot of respect for our armed forces, and I'm very privileged to be part of this community.
Mhm.
You know, it's something that I would complain about least, you know, aside from housing. But we have the Air Force. The Air Force is so kind. They let other branches live here, you know?
Yeah,
So
that is you here you'll see Coast Guard,
Yeah.
Marines.
Army.
Yeah, everybody is here.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it's such a vast region.
Yeah. But it's like that in LA too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were Navy staying on an Air Force base.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's the same way it was in Colorado too.
Yeah.
It was a lot of Army families on base there too.
Yeah, it's a privilege.
Mhm.
Love you guys. Thank you for your housing.
I'm sure housing will appreciate that.
Yeah.
So back to like your grandfather. Did he ever tell you any stories of his time
My
during
grandpa
the
was
wars?
so old,
Mhm.
and at that time I was so young I didn't know.
Uh-huh.
But I was actually just speaking to some people at the canteen in Devens, Massachusetts. It's called Clear Path. Every Thursday they have a canteen,
Mhm.
and all the vets are there. So I was sitting at a table, and there was Joe. He's 100. He was in World War II with my grandpa. But I don't know if they knew each other. I can't even ask him because he's old. And that's a very technical question. I'm not going to stress him out. And there was David. He was Korea. And then there was Frank. He's Vietnam. So I'm sitting with these war heroes at the table. And, you know, at the time I was a little girl. I couldn't ask these questions. But I seen it in how my grandpa lived. For example, I was telling them in his garage, he had a whole bunch of MREs. And
Oh no.
so he had the same shelves we have in our garage, you know, and he just had MREs. And I didn't understand why, but okay, now I know. And he always wears coveralls, like we wear in the Navy, the blue coveralls. I never seen my grandfather in a button-up or pants. He was always wearing coveralls. And in his room, he didn't have not one photo in his room. His room was like, you could like flick a coin on his bed, you know, because in the barracks you're not allowed to have photos and personalized things. Like the way my grandfather carried himself and lived was very like military. Now I know, but at the time I was just more concerned about the where's Waldo and bunnies that he would buy me, you know. So I missed that. I didn't get that. Whereas Joe is 100 years old and he was in World War II and he's still alive. I'm like, dang.
I wanted to ask you, so now, being a military spouse yourself, was there any like pushback when you guys were dating?
Like leaving.
So like him being in the military.
Like from who?
From any family members, maybe your cousins.
Oh,
Maybe
girl,
they didn't
yeah.
want you to leave, you know,
Oh,
from
no.
California.
No, I would say that there was just like a little bit of, there's a lot of lack of respect for the military in my family because they're ignorant. You know, they think that they're working for the white man. You are working for the white man. You're just not getting nothing out of it. You know what I mean? You work for this white man, Uncle Sam, for 21 years. You're going to have something. You're going to have a home loan, education paid off.
Mhm.
If you go to school during or after, you have stuff to leave your kids. Whereas you're going to work for the white man for 21 years, and if you get fired, you ain't going to have nothing. He don't care about the 21 years you just put in. They don't have the respect. And again, it's tragic because if you look at our country and other countries, it's the armed forces that keep us safe. So everyone should be at least respectful, if not begging and groveling to be part of something great, you know.
Mhm. So
I tried to get my brother to join,
Oh
and
yeah.
he refused. He just
Really?
went on these ignorant tangents. Girl, he's a, don't say that.
So I want to ask you, so what would you actually, as some advice that you would give to a military spouse who's just coming in to this life?
It's worth it. And people are mean. People are mean. I've had other military spouses have the audacity to tell me that this ain't for the weak. Because I had a horrible PCS coming back to the country. I told you they lost my house and paperwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really, they just didn't process it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really hard. And it was very stressful. I had a power of attorney for my husband and everything done legally through JAG. The bank wouldn't take it, so they wouldn't give me access. I still have that.
Mm-hmm.
I have receipts.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I didn't have access to my husband's bank account. I had the power of attorney, but Capital One and a car dealership wouldn't accept it, so I wasn't able to buy a brand new car. I had to get a limit. Like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like trying to what?
Mm-hmm.
Still my own life? So it was very challenging and very stressful. And I started seeking help.
Mm-hmm.
And like all people, predators are in all different communities, not just the ghetto. People talked down, judged my husband, blamed my husband. Well, he's on a ship trying to stop China from embarking on Taiwan. Instead of helping me, they're throwing stones at my husband.
Oh no.
Yeah, which was like really like, you know what, you know. So that was hard. And then I had this military spouse, as I was talking about it, say something, oh, it's not for the weak. And then she said, oh, but I'm lucky I never had to deal with that because my husband never deployed. And I'm like the audacity, the arrogance, instead of compassion or like gratefulness, you know? So it is very hard, but again, it's worth it because you can work at Kaiser Permanente for 21 years and not have anything. You know, even the retirement and the TSP and everything that the military offers is protected by the government. Whereas you work for a hedge fund or something and they can bargain your pension, you can lose it, you know? So there's a lot of security that the military provides, and then it also provides stability. And mind you, you see all these different civil wars happening right now in different countries. I mean, aside from the ones that we started ourselves, it doesn't happen here on the soil because of our armed forces. So it's something to be proud of. It's something that I think can give you meaning, and it definitely gives you a purpose because, you know, they protect women like us and our children and our teachers and our elderly, and there's nothing bad about being a service.
Well, so with that being said, would you do it all over again?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
But if I was able to retain this knowledge, that PCS would have gone differently. Girl, I would have never checked into Rhode Island. I would have flew into California, which would have been kind of hard because I had to check into Rhode Island in order to receive my household goods. So, you know, there's little conundrums. I would save some money, put my stuff in storage in Rhode Island, and then went to California. You know, so there's things you can only learn by living them. But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't not do it over again. The military's been good to me.
And so, of course, you know, what comes with military spouses. I want to talk about, is it really that bad with the drama with military spouses that they say?
Girl, hell yeah. You asked the right person. I already told someone on this face to eat a dick. I don't know who it was, but I said just eat a dick. And I meant it from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it in a hateful way, but someone pooped, a dog pooped in the yard and they had the audacity to leave it. Like,
Oh no,
no,
that's not okay.
no, you take your shit with you, okay? Literally. And then I was like, who did it? You know, I was trying to find the perpetrator. And everybody was talking, these BS. People were just delusional. I was like, well, y'all don't even know dogs. I'm going to start a petition to get rid of your dogs. So lo and behold, oh my God. They swear I was talking about like aborting their live babies or something. They're like, we're going to start a petition to get you out of here. I was like, yeah.
Oh,
It's normal. And then when we were in Japan, COVID was happening. You know, people have different cognitive abilities, and that's what they said. So there was a family who had been on quarantine because in Japan they took it serious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. As we should have. We let everybody still come here when there was a virus going on. We should have shut those planes down, but we didn't, and a lot of us died. But anyway, so Japan is not wrong for what they did. But there was a military family locked in their house. You couldn't leave your house, and you will get towed on. Someone will die.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So they were talking on the news thread on the spouses page. I'm like, well,
that's where all the
girl, yeah, the tea, yes. And I was like, okay. They're like, I need to know if they're contagious because we share events. And I was like, okay, well, instead of worrying that they're contagious, maybe you should ask if they need groceries. Maybe they're in the house starving. Girl, I have so much expired food in my house, you just never know after that stuff. You know what I mean? So you should ask if they need something. Maybe drop something off to them. Someone said something stupid, and then some girl said, well, just let the captain know we don't want you here. And I was emotional. Okay, we were in that city in quarantine. They lost my husband, again, the Navy. They lost my husband's COVID specimen.
Oh no.
His negative result. So they did a new one, and we had to wait another 21 days.
Oh my gosh.
Girl, yes, the psychosis was kicking in, right? Because we got there when it was dark. So, and then we were just confined to his room. So there was like, that mental instability. And I'm in a new country, So that really did hurt my feelings. And I was like, I didn't like that girl for that moment. I still don't like her, and I'm waiting to meet her one day in Colorado. Okay, because I still have words for you. And then like every time I post something, and it's so casual. She always has something smart to say. Always has something smart to say. I'm like, okay. And then one day I just say, I'm glad you have so much time on your hands. Like, I don't know if she was a lesbian or something, because she was obsessed with me. She was obsessed. Like, I've been, hey, today's great weather for the pool. She said, why don't you just buy your own pool? And I was like, God, I just want to, it would be worth it. It would be worth it. One time, I just had my baby, my son, and I had a cesarean. And the cleaning ladies they're like, for $250, we'll clean your vents. How much do you clean my vents? How much do you clean my floor in my bathroom? How much of that? Oh, well, we don't know, that would be extra, but I don't want you to clean my vents. I leave my floor in my bathroom's clean. And I made a post one day, and I was like, oh my God, and I'm really frustrated. I'm postpartum, and I don't want my stitches to like rip open with me moving them out,
Right.
So I'm like, is there a better cleaning service? Because these chicks are tripping. I'm not gonna pay like $250,000 for my events. Okay, who does that? And again, this turn up responded, well, why don't you just clean yourself? And I'm just like, you know what?
Oh no.
I said drink some bleach or something, It's just like, just go for a long motion, so, but I think it's also like boredom and knowing that you can get away with it, because in the military, we're not so quick to do ignorant things. Like, you can't go smack a neighbor and get away with it.
No, you cannot.
So there was that protection she had, knowing that I couldn't do anything about it. And God, I hate that woman so much. And I felt bad, though, at a certain point, because she had a small baby, and my dang, hey, someone's mama, but she deserves it. So. And in the Navy, our husbands are gone for like 7 months, so a lot of them are socially frustrated or whatever. But still, they still do it because we all want the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's drama.
Okay. So by far, at most, which military base is your favorite?
I don't have a favorite base.
Oh, no.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so what would be your favorite base to go to then?
If I could visit, I want to go to Germany Germany or Spain. I believe those are airport bases too.
Yes, there are some.
Of course they are.
Yeah. I've talked with people who have been out of the country, and some people really do love going out the country.
I'm an American. I love being American. I just want to go to visit.
Yeah, and I've heard some people who went to Italy as well too. I know that would probably be one place that I would like to go.
Absolutely, to visit.
It's probably so beautiful.
But they're also very racist, and they killed Jesus, so I wouldn't want to move there. But to visit,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so in finishing our talk for today.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry for saying
that.
Oh, no, true. Everyone likes Italy, but did y'all forget about the crucifixion and the Roman Empire? People just forget things, you know?
Yeah, I understand. But so in finishing our talk for today, I really do thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So what would be just to finish off? What would be some things that that you would like to tell our audience about being a military spouse? Since especially the May is the month for appreciation for military spouses.
People need to start appreciating the sacrifice is real. You know, you're welcome. You're welcome. I want you to turn on the world news and look at the civil war in Congo or Rwanda or Israel or Ukraine and be like, well, gosh darn. Thank you, Armed Forces of America. Because it's happening everywhere else but here, thank God. And then thank you to the military spouses who have to put up with the cranky husbands who get yelled at all day or who are exhausted, who work 80 hours and get paid little. You know, they're cranky because of that. Obviously. And then we deal with that. We give them children. We pick up and move. So again, you're welcome. I do feel like we need some respect on our name.
Do you think your husband will stay in?
He has to.
For the long run?
I can't go back to being a civilian. No.
Well, that's good to know. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being on today's episode. And that is a wrap for today. Thank you so much.